Hey guys, Drifter here. Welcome to Black Ops Cold War in Depth. In today's episode, we're going to be reviewing the LW3 Tundra sniper rifle, which is, in my opinion, the best actual sniper rifle in Black Ops Cold War for, real sniping, shooting people at long ranges. Perhaps you're behind cover, perhaps they're not even paying attention to you, you're shooting fleas in a distance. That's the kind of weapon the Tundra is. It's not the run around like a chicken with your head cut off, spinning and trying to ladder shot people to join Phase 5 in a quickscoping competition. It's for, its actual purpose of sniping. However, when it comes to Warzone and Verdansk, I actually prefer the Modern Warfare 2019 snipers over this one, and there's a reason for that we'll get into later in today's episode. But for now, I wanted to let you know that you can use code DRIFTER to save 5% off on all ASTRO headsets, or you could just click the link in the description. It'll give you 5% off in the very last step of checkout. I've been sponsored by ASTRO Gaming for almost a decade now. I still have headsets that are almost a decade old. They're fantastic products that I absolutely stand by and would recommend them to anybody. So if you want ASTRO headsets, please click the link down there below in the description. Good company, good people, and products that I use every day. But moving along, let's talk about the LW3 Tundra's bullet velocity. This one is a little bit faster than the Pellington from the last episode at 550 meters per second, and that's still overall pretty slow for a sniper rifle and a little bit slow for Black Ops Cold War in general. This velocity is very similar to assault rifles. Most of the assault rifles shoot at about this speed, so it's still going to be actually outperformed by LMGs and tactical rifles in terms of bullet velocity, which is kind of bizarre. And I wanted to do a quick comparison between the maximum and minimum bullet velocity here with the suppressor on the left and the Tiger Team barrel on the right. And you can see that there is a very noticeable amount of time, a delay between shooting with a suppressor and shooting with a boosted barrel. And for that reason, I don't really use the suppressors very much. I try to kind of maximize my bullet velocity. Similar to the Pellington, it doesn't get that much more stable with the base, the stabilizer, or the infantry stabilizer. You can make it better, no doubt, but it doesn't get crazy better like it does in past Call of Duty games. And we're going to move a little bit faster this episode because a lot of these kind of things like the flinch reduction is very similar to the Pellington, so there's no need to repeat myself with testing. So I'll just tell you that the flinch is overall very low on this weapon and not problematic. However, I think you should still use the airborne wrap to completely remove it. That way when people shoot you, your aim is almost completely undisturbed and you'll win a whole lot of gunfights, and the guy will say, but I shot him like 6 times and then he just quickscoped me, which is usually my experience when I'm fighting snipers in this game. I don't like low zoom scopes on sniper rifles very much. This is something that I kind of didn't talk about in the Pellington episode, even though there's gameplay of that and gameplay of me using the Tundra with the iron sights and red dot sights and stuff. But I generally don't enjoy them in Black Ops Cold War. I feel that for some reason it makes the idle sway very awkward and causes me to miss more frequently. If you're going to be running a low zoom scope, you can still hit shift or click the stick to hold your breath and it'll temporarily disable that and you just get the perfect steadiness. But I often forget about it when it's in that mode, or I'll kind of head glitch for too long, and overall I just find them awkward. I'm much more comfortable with the default scopes or the long range zoom scopes. But that's probably not what you're here for today. You're probably here to learn about the damage on this big boy weapon. The Tundra's base damage is 110 per shot, which, like the Pellington, is not enough to get a one-shot kill in a game that has 150 health, so of course we have multipliers on the body. Now, what's a little bit bizarre about this is that the one-shot kill areas are almost identical to the weaker Pellington sniper rifle. You get one-shot kills to the head, neck, chest, and a little bit different than the Pellington, you get the biceps. You don't get the forearms or hands, you don't get legs, you don't get groin, you don't get stomach, you don't get ab region, you just get head, neck, kind of pecs and up, and then a little bit of the upper arm, so if you clip somebody while aiming for the chest, it's somewhat forgiving. The Tundra's base one-shot kill areas are almost the same as the Pellington's, so without certain attachments, you may not notice that much of a difference. However, the Tiger Team barrel turns this weapon into something of a monster. The Tiger Team barrel isn't that important on a lot of sniper rifles, but for the Tundra, you get one-shot kill areas to the stomach, which is kind of anything above the belt, anything above the character model's belt and up, you'll get a one-shot kill. The upper arms are a one-shot kill. The lower arms, such as the forearm, and even the hands become a one-shot kill area. So you get a pretty big bonus, and as a matter of fact, this is the biggest bonus and most one-shot kill areas in the entire game. And because you have more leeway on these one-shot kill areas and higher damage, that means your wallbang potential is that much higher too. I found it very, very easy to pop people through walls with this and deal significant damage, or on occasion just kill them. When it comes to using the suppressor does not appear to change your one-shot kill areas. They seem to be the same as the base weapon, and that's what the stat chart says, so I'm glad it's doing what it says it should do. And the takeaway here is that the Tiger Team barrel massively boosts the LW3 Tundra and makes it the most powerful sniper rifle in the game. It gives you extra bullet velocity, extra fire rate, extra one-shot kill areas, and all it does is take away from your ammo, which I think is an entirely fair, if not very generous trade-off. One thing the Tundra doesn't have going in its favor is rate of fire. It's only 47 rounds per minute, which is a fairly normal number for sniper rifles in COD games, but it is the slowest in Black Ops Cold War, and like the Pellington, does need to be rechambered, so you gotta be a little bit careful if you're gonna shoot and sprint away, and try to get into a habit of rechambering before you sprint away, so that the next time you need the weapon or the next time you pull it out, it's pretty much ready to go. Time to kill, since this is an all or nothing weapon, I think it's one hit or quit. Either you get your one-shot kill or you run away. That's really your only choices. Not many people are going to let you get a follow-up shot in. Handling stats are noticeably slower than the Pellington. Aim down sights times 100 milliseconds slower at 650 milliseconds. You'll notice this. It'll not feel very fast. Sprint out time 100 milliseconds slower as well at 366, yet still, you know, kind of close to half of the ADS time, and you'll see that pattern throughout all of the sniper rifles, which I find to be a little bit weird. Overall, the handling on the Tundra is a bit too slow to rush with in Black Ops Cold War. This weapon is clearly designed for range, and yes, you can put a variety of attachments on there that will lower the aim down sights time and make it better and kind of get it closer to Pellington range, but by the time you're doing all that, you might as well just be using the Pellington. As for its hipfire capabilities, they're not so great. Again, same with all the other sniper rifles, 18 milliradians compared to the standard of 7.5, so really huge hipfire, and with a lot of the attachments that I run, I actually punish hipfire a little bit more because it's something I never do. For whatever reason, hipfire with sniper rifles just never works out for me, but it seems to work great for everybody else. Reload time on this weapon's a lot faster than others at 3 seconds flat, so way better than the Pellington. I think it's the magazine base that really helps a lot. However, this can vary a lot with attachments. This weapon has 7 different magazine attachments that do a whole lot of different things, so you can have a bigger mag, a faster mag, a big fast mag, all sorts of neat stuff. And unlike the Pellington, on the Tundra, I do sometimes run mag attachments with this weapon since I don't have to rush with it. I'm primarily playing far back. I'm not really wanting to be as aggressive, so these 5, 10, 20% ADS time penalties really aren't that meaningful to me. And in my opinion, I think the Tundra is the best sniper rifle for people who actually like to snipe at long ranges. That's what all of the stats indicate and point to. It's got the best one-shot kill areas. It's got great probably the best bullet velocity, even if it isn't good. Got a generous bullet drop. It handles really slow. Just pretty much everything about the weapon says sit back and shoot at people that don't even know you're there. And that's exactly what I do with it. And it works really well in that capacity. When it comes to how this weapon works in Warzone, I think it's supposed to work something more like the HDR, but Warzone stats and attachments are kind of weird. They're not analogous to Black Ops Cold War multiplayer. The attachments are doing a whole bunch of bizarre things that aren't listed. J-God's really tearing deep into those, so every day I'm learning something new about those. And what I'm gonna do is wait for me and J-God and Ace and True Gun Data to really demystify Warzone when it comes to Black Ops Cold War weapons and save my opinions about it for later because, for example, I have my opinions about the Tundra now. I don't think that it's as good. It doesn't feel as good. I think the bullet velocity is kind of slow, and I feel a lot of things about it, but what I really want to do before telling you one way or the other is wait for hard data, hard opinions, and hard comparative stats so that we can get something more concrete than just my fifis. And unfortunately, one thing that's not my feelings is that the Tundra outclasses the M82 for a lot of reasons as well, which is very sad. The Tundra doesn't maybe fire as fast, but it has better one-shot kill areas, it has better bullet velocity, better range, better attachment choices, it handles a little bit faster. It's kind of weird to me how much better of a sniper rifle the Tundra is compared to a Barrett 50 cal that can take out vehicles, but that's how they kind of decided to make it. I don't know what the use of the M82 is, and I'm actually kind of dreading doing that in-depth episode because I don't think it's going to be very fun. At the end of the day, the LW3 is my personal favorite Black Ops Cold War sniper rifle because I'm not a quickscoper, I'm not a sniping rusher, I'm not a trick shotter guy. I just kind of like to sit back and nail people, and the LW3 lets me do exactly that. It feels really good and satisfying in my hands, so it's the one that I'm going to recommend to most players. And I'm also going to recommend you a class that's very similar to the Pellington class that we did earlier. You can see the entire setup here. I prefer the basic stabilizer just because I get idle sway control with no penalties whatsoever, which again is, in my opinion, the way to go. The Tiger Team barrel, as we talked about, is the most important attachment for this weapon. If you didn't learn anything from this episode, I would hope that you learn that the Tiger Team barrel is just godly. You get extra damage, extra one-shot kill areas, 20% fire rate, 50% bullet velocity, and all you're sacrificing is your ammo, so I think it's a super cool trade-off. I like the Vandal Speedloader magazine. I feel that I get the maximum amount of fast mags and ammo capacity and stuff like that with the minimal amount of aim down sights time penalty. But on this weapon, I'd be comfortable running almost any kind of magazine. I do run the Airborne Elastic Wrap. It's maybe not super necessary, but it's very comforting to know that I don't have any recoil, and I get a little bit, not recoil, flinch. I get a little bit addicted to that as the game goes on. And then finally at the end, very similar to the Pellington, I'll run the Marathon stock to boost my sprint out time a little bit, just in case I have to do a desperate hip fire or kind of like a quick scope. It'll help me a little bit. However, it isn't really the most necessary attachment. You could probably trade this one out for almost anything else that you want and be just fine. Ladies and gentlemen, that is all for this episode of In Depth. I hope that you learned something useful. If you did, don't forget to like, favorite, and subscribe. Drifter out.